that'll be discussed further?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly, we will take that away from this meeting. And
so thanks for that. Last question over here. Is there a question in here somewhere?
Yeah, well, the thing is that this whole process, the reason I came here, and what you're saying you're doing is canceled by the fact that you're saying already you decided that Moon Park is the tool of the music. And, you know, so it's just leaving me with how is this going to work?
So your question is, you would like, yeah, you would really like to have a discussion about the extent and the boundaries and if in fact marine parks are viable, and you want to have that discussion.
My question is, has that already been decided so that we cannot have input on that? Or what you're saying? That's what I want to know.
whether the use of marine protected areas has been decided?
Yeah, that's the tool we're going to use here.
It's a tool, and there is direction and commitments that have been made by the federal government to use that tool. Now, that's very broad. What the use of the tool looks like, where it gets used, what a marine protected area even actually means in terms of the protection it offers, is not set in stone. So there is room for those kinds of discussions. And I think I'll leave it there. I mean, I think that's part of a broader discussion within a planning process. But I think that would be my response now. Is there's potential to use that tool. What it means and where it's used still remains to be seen.
We're going to have that discussion, and I need to. I see that there's more questions popping up, but we really have to. Can I take your questions during the break, and I'll make a commitment to either voice them or get them aired somehow. So I've got Jack and Erica, and I'm going to talk to you at the break and make sure that I document your questions and that we deal with them. But right now, I think we've had a good, wholesome discussion about the PENSEMA process and the overview that's provided and the context setting for the SECOA study, which is really the purpose of our meeting. And so now we're really getting to the meat in the sandwich. So sorry that we've eroded a little bit of your time, but please let's move forward.
Okay, now I'm on air, huh? Well, good morning, and thank you, Clarence Nelson, for the welcome. In this brief presentation, I'm going to provide an overview of the SECOA. The presentation, what it's intended to do is give you a big picture of the context for the breakout sessions that follow. this perspective, I'm hoping, will be a catalyst for the expert and stakeholder input we're seeking in the completion of the work and in those breakout sessions, so that what we're looking for is detailed discussions about factual information, that would occur in the breakout sessions, and that's not something that I'm going to be dealing with in this presentation. It'll be more of an overview of how the factual information that we'll be looking for and how it'll be used. So first of all, what I'd like to do is introduce the study team that's going to be undertaking this work. I can assure you it's not for-profit consultants. I wish it were otherwise, but my name is Gary Robinson. I'm a resource economist. I've been practicing the arts since the late 70s, and project work that I've undertaken in this area is I've completed for the provincial government the socio-economic assessment of the Central Coast LRMP plan when it was completed, the base case profile for the North Coast LRMP, the baseline socio-economic profile for the Quatsino Sound and Johnson Butte coastal management plans. Baseline studies, as we get into this, you'll see are very similar to what work is being asked to be done here. And another one is a community forest proposal in Haida Gwaii. Other members of the team, Steve Nickel, raise your hand, yeah. And Steve is an economic development specialist since 1985, and some of the projects that he's worked on in the area, the Haida Gwaii Community Viability Strategy, Economic Development Strategy for the Bella Coola Valley, North Island Tourism Opportunity Study, a Scott Island the baseline study, and a manufacturing study for Prince Rupert, Terrace, and Kitimat. The third member of the team is Randy Sunderman, and Randy has degrees in biology and economics, and he's worked in economic development and land use assignments throughout BC. In the study area, he has worked on the, along with Steve and Dave, the Mid and North Coast Tourism Opportunity Study, the Scott Island Study, and the Economic Development Strategy. And Dave Nickel, who many of you might know, is a geographer and planner and a GIS consultant. Some of the projects that he has worked on in the area include resource and human use data collection for the Johnson Strait, Central Coast, North Coast, and Haida Gwaii, tourism opportunity studies for the North Coast and North Vancouver Island, Haida Gwaii tourism resource inventory, and the BC marine conservation analysis. So it's and over the past 7 years, Steve, Randy, and I have completed baselines and socioeconomic assessments for a broad range of initiatives, including Marble Muralet, which I didn't mention, that was the entire BC coast, the National Marine Conservation Area proposal for the Gulf Islands, that was a baseline study, and proposed national park for the South Okanagan, and mine and several major energy projects. And why I mention them is because the basic approach that I'm going to be setting out here is very similar to an approach